What?
What is up, fight fans? We are back for another episode of Combat Deviants. I'm your host, Steve Rochelle, being joined but with this goofy guy on my left, Mr. Evil Eddie. Evil Eddie, what is up tonight, brother? We got a fun one lined up for the folks tonight. Obviously, Carrie's not with us tonight. Obviously, we'll get her back next week. We got a fun one planned. She's gonna actually have a pretty interesting, I think, in studio guest for you guys next week. So don't miss next week. Don't want to overshadow what we got going on this week. Obviously, UFC 281's got going on. We're going to talk some BKFC. And speaking of BKFC, we got Audra Cummings going to be joining us, and she's going to be, real quickly around the corner from her second BKFC fight. And we got Darris Beast Mode Flowers, all fresh off of his Dana White Contender Series win, which netted him his contract in his first foray into the UFC. Great, LFA guy. Glad to see him on the stage. Going to be talking to him about that finish. Going to be talking to Audrey, all things BKFC. A lot of stuff going on in the combat sports world. Obviously. Big event, man. Obviously, we got two titles on the line. We got without a doubt, the number one contender for the lightweight division is fighting Saturday night without a doubt with Dustin Poirier and Michael Chandler locking horns. Obviously I gotta give some love to my Philly guy Andre Petrosky. He's gonna be getting back in there. Hopefully get Philly in the win column. Had to break out the Paul Felder t-shirt. Right,
Yeah.
For the sorry for the folks that are watching on the audio portion of it, but obviously every Combat Deviants episode is powered by Belly Up Sports. Without that being said, Eddie, how you feeling tonight, brother? I know we had some technical difficulties in the house. I know I am no stranger to that, so but sorry for anyone waiting for us to get started. It was a little rough in the home front for Eddie.
Well, let me tell everybody what just happened. Every time we usually do a stream, the fish tank's going. And I went to the bathroom really quick. I'm juggling things around. I start filling the fish bowl up. And I forget about the fish bowl, bro, because I couldn't find the fucking sports jacket. Then I go in there and the whole thing, I don't want to say this too loud, the whole fucking thing's overflowing. I had no time to get any towels because the rats chewed all the towels up, which reminds me, bro, I actually saw the wild rat in my room and it's sleeping inside the couch. I shared it on my podcast a couple days ago at Pure Evil MMA, man. There's so much to talk about this week other than my flooded bathroom, man. If I was Frankie Edgar, I wouldn't be running in there because, that's one of the first questions I really want to know, Steve. We've been watching Frankie for so long. I watched him at this press conference, man. It's his last fight for the UFC. We don't know what he's going to do next, but is he going to run to the octagon this time? Is he going to walk and take his time, take it all in? Or do you think we're going to see the right old...
No, I don't think we see the sprint this time, man. And speaking of which, Frankie Edgar is one of my dudes. Met him a few times. One of the UFC gym openings in Jersey. Awesome dude, man. One of the underrated guys in this company for quite some time. He's Jersey blue collar through and through. That's just who Frankie is. It's gonna be sad to see him not involved in competitive MMA. I mean, he is one of the rare ones, man. He's like we were talking about, off air a few minutes ago, man. He's one of the few OGs, man. He will fight anyone, anytime, anywhere, don't matter what weight. He's one of them type dudes. You gotta love Frankie Edgar. And he never picks himself an easy fight. I mean, what's his opponent? 18-3, dude. Stop playing with me, man. Dude is always fighting killers and murderers.
It's out of control. Yeah, we're going to be breaking down UFC 281 for everybody. We're going to get the pros to say what they think about this main event because Alex Perriera's only had 3 fights. Now he's got the title. Everyone's saying he won those last 2 fights. But if you've watched the last 2 fights, outside of mixed martial arts in kickboxing for Israel Adesanya, man, that first fight was really close and he was winning the second fight as well. So we're going to be getting into that. in just a little bit here. I gotta say though, congratulations to Kane, free Kane. But here's the thing, Steve. For the court document,
I know this is coming.
For the court document, bro, it says he has to stay 300 yards away from the victims of this case. Now, he spent 8 months in jail. He comes out. Luckily, they changed the judges. And now he has to stay away from the victims of this case. If I was in that general area, bro, and wasn't Kane and knew what was going on, as the public, like, I would kind of take that into my own hands, bro. Like in 8 Mile, they burned the house down. I would do something like that, man. Like, it's absolutely out of control how these people are out there still living. But Kane's back home doing his thing. And the crazy thing I found out about Kane, man, he's been tripping out lately, doing ayahuasca before he went to jail and stuff, which, dude, I've never done that stuff in my entire life. Jim Morrison used to do it, but the pitcher Kane doing it, you hear Mike Tyson doing it, Henry Cejudo. Like, what's this whole thing with everybody tripping out lately? Have you realized that? People are talking about
people are trying to do the Marvel thing and break the fourth wall. You know what I mean? They're trying to enlighten their souls, man. Why everyone hating on the athletes that taking acid? No. You know, if I remember correctly, there's a famous pitcher that threw a no-hitter on acid, right? Right?
What's that? We got our guest coming in right now. We should definitely ask her about this for sure.
Yeah,
let's welcome.
Let's get things kicked off with our first guest of the evening, of the night.
We got Audra Cummings.
BKFC fighter is here. Welcome, Audra, to Combat Deviants. Appreciate the time that this evening.
Hold on. Before you say anything, are you sure you're a BKFC fighter? You don't got a shaved head. You don't got pink hair. You don't got tattoos.
And I don't have an OnlyFans page.
I knew that was about to go right around the corner.
Oh my goodness.
It is sad. Like we're getting to the point where like no disrespect to BKFC or anything like that, but they have a type anymore when it comes to girls they like to sign, girls they like to promote anymore. Is that kind of the feel you get when you're looking at it?
Well, first of all, I think it just attracts a certain personality type. But as you pointed out, I don't look like the typical BKFC fighter or any fighter at all. Really, I mean, I have normal colored hair. I'm not covered in tattoos. I'm not 22 years old. I don't show my ass a whole lot. I'm a 42-year-old mom of 4. I'm living a life in the suburbs.
I'm going to tell you right now, you don't look like you're that age whatsoever. And, as a journalist, I did a lot of research on you. Okay. And I got to say, 4 children, right? At 40 years old, you kind of just got a call from a man named Eric Graham. Now, who's Eric Graham, and how did he get your number, and how did Nate Shook get your number?
Okay, so my whole fighting story starts with Eric Graham, actually. So I was on Facebook, and I'm a personal trainer, and I'm also a certified nutritionist, and I was posting all the time, going live all the time. Excuse me.
Yelling at the kids too much.
Yeah, actually that did just happen. So, and he and I connected just through fitness, and he offered me a job or an opportunity at the gym. He said, "Hey, you think you'd want to do some strength and conditioning and classes and things here?" And I said, "That sounds really cool. I drive by all the time. I look through the window. I see everybody doing their thing." I was like, it's so intimidating, but it looks neat. So I got a personal invite to come and check the gym out. And once we met and we got started, I started teaching classes there. Now I'm the head kids coach for the 5 to 8-year-olds on kickboxing and jiu-jitsu. He has trained me. I take the cardio kickboxing. I make fight classes when I can, but I coach a boot camp on Monday and Wednesday night.
What, for Maury, or straightening kids' lives out over there, getting in their face, screaming at them and stuff?
Well, it's that I do yell at them, and they love it. That's one of their favorite parts. But I yell cool stuff, not like mean, like awful stuff. I yell, things like, what are you made of? This is your chance to see what you're made of. Don't quit now. You can do anything for the next 20 seconds. Let's go. You're almost there.
So
we
you're like
really,
the Ken Shamrock over there. I mean,
yeah.
like, did you, I don't mean to cut this off, but I think it's really important before you go on with explaining this part of the story. Were you familiar with mixed martial arts? Did you ever watch any events? Like, how familiar were you?
Growing up, I had taken taekwondo and I had taken kickboxing, and I had done that as a kid. Of course, you watch all the movies. It's always been an interest of mine. I like to wrestle, so I thought
When you say wrestle, you mean beating the kids up all the time and trying to separate them?
before kids. This was a long time ago.
Oh, you had the WWF dolls like I did. Throw them around the living room.
Yes. So I grew up on Andre the Giant, and I lived near Hulk Hogan, so I would see him in real life.
Whoa!
In the Tampa area.
Stop. We're gonna have to backpedal even more now.
After the Hogan drop up, it's over. Eddie's gonna fanboy out.
Yeah, you kind of look like you might be one of Hogan's daughters or something. Like, what's her name? Brooke? Like, did you know the family? I think the son passed away, actually.
They lived closer to the beach, and I lived more in the country. And so when we wrestle in the country, you wrestle with your neighbors and your cousins, and you're just tussling in the yard. I grew up with a family that kicked you out, and you weren't allowed to come home until they either called for you or the street lights came on.
Yeah.
So, you're in the yard. What do you do?
But like, was it a huge thing? Like, Hulk Hogan lives in I'm from New Haven. There's a bunch of boxers from here. There's Jadakiss is from over here. So, but we don't make like a big deal. 50 Cent lives in Connecticut. We don't really give a fuck, So
no, he's just part of the community. It's not a big deal. Watch him on TV, cheer for him,
I heard a rumor though from my grandfather, may he rest in peace, and I used to love this story as a kid. So he went to a McDonald's one morning and he saw Hulk Hogan walking into McDonald's with his wife, didn't hold the door for her, and walked in. And my grandfather was so taken back by that. Is Hogan kind of like that kind of a person, you think?
I never witnessed one way or the other. He always seemed real cool and real cordial in public. I mean, I only ran into him a handful of times, and I was a kid, so it's not like I was watching out for that kind of stuff.
Fucking nice. Hogan's not opening doors for anyone around here.
But my grandfather taught me how a man's supposed to treat a woman, so that would have appalled me if I saw that.
So going forward, you did Taekwondo training and things like this, but you never really considered getting into it. So how did this really unravel here? Like, I know BKFC does like tryouts and stuff. Did you do a tryout?
So I did. So after I started at Graham MMA, I did start. So I'm already a personal trainer, and I started strength and conditioning classes for fighters. I had 2 that signed up. We started a little 5 a.m. gang. And we actually got in the best shape of our lives. We had ripped abs. We were eating right. They turned me on to the Dolce diet, which I got a cool story about that. I got to have a one-on-one with Mike Dolce this week.
Ultimate Fighter rest. Wow.
Yeah, which is really, really cool. And then like as things grow, the interest grew, the love for it grew. And I wouldn't say that like I'm just like hardcore gonna be a fighter, obsessed over it. There's really people at the gym that's what they eat, breathe, sleep. They're there 3 times a day. I'm there like for my hour, my 2 hours, and then I'm living my life with my kids. So I'm not as hardcore as some other people are. If my schedule allowed for it, it'd be cool, but it doesn't. And I like it to be a part of my life. I don't like it to be my life. I don't identify myself through fighting or training. But as it started to progress, I mean, just the natural flow of things started to happen. And I never really wanted to be an MMA fighter. And I actually used to turn my head at UFC fights when like the blood would start. I'm like, oh God, I can't watch it. Yeah, I don't.
But now you're fighting without gloves. And we'll get there. That's an interesting fact right there.
Yeah, so it used to like turn me off, but one of my friends took me to a bare knuckle fight when they first came to Mississippi. And that was the Christine Faria, Helen Peralta fight in Biloxi.
We just had Helen on the show. Yeah.
And we had really good seats, right? Close up to the squared circle. And I watched it and something like hit me right away. I was like, oh, that's the thing I can do. Like that's the one I want to do. I don't know. Like, it just struck me sitting there watching it. It was
That's
awesome.
special. That's really special for a lot of people out there who don't know when it's going to happen. Like out of high school, you're like, what do I do with my life? Here you are at 40 years old, and it struck you like, oh, wow, this could be my calling. And look at you now. So you were interested in it. And then what, you actually pursued it. Were you talking about it like to people, or did you kind of keep it a secret? Like, I'm going to try out for this.
I talked about it to my best friend at the time a whole lot. But he was a fighter too. And so he was really interested in it, but he was more the fighter. So it was more like I was in the support role. And so I kind of helped him and pushed him. And I was like, well, you know what? I'll act as a manager. I'll start making contacts in bare knuckle. We'll start to get to know everybody. And of course, the fight world's actually kind of, as big as it is, it's still a very small world.
Audra Ali Abdelaziz. Audra Abdelaziz over there.
So I started making connections. Actually, one of the first people I met, and we are friends today, is Britton Hart or Britton Beltran.
We just had her husband on.
Okay. So I
awesome.
saw her, and we were waiting after the fights. We were just milling about or whatever, and I didn't know who she was yet. And so I saw her just doing like this. She was real cute, and I think she was commentating that night, but I didn't know anything about her or the people, the fighters yet. And I just saw her doing like this, and I walked up to her, and I was like, "You got the bug, don't you?" She was like, "Oh yeah." She was, "I wish it was me in there tonight." And we just started talking. And her fight with Paige Van Zant, we had been talking as friends. She's so nice. She's one of the greatest people, and we had been talking as friends up to that point. When she went to go fight Paige, I was like, well, do you need anything? Can I help you with anything? And she said the one last thing she needed was her shoes, boxing shoes. So I bought her shoes, and she wore the shoes I sent her in the Paige Van Zant fight.
Something funny really quick. I know Steve's got a question waiting for you, but when I was doing my research for you, I got 3 photos of you and 100 of Paige Van Zant. Like, people are mixing you and Paige up. It looks like
really?
on Google.
I haven't seen that yet.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Google is a weird place, man. I promise you.
It is a weird place, but to fast forward and after a year or so of making connections and working the scene and supporting my friends who wanted to do it and who got in, tryouts happened to be in my hometown of Plant City, Florida. And I was like, okay, this is too weird. Like, how are they of all places Plant City? That seems really random to me. I was like, I gotta go. I was just in Plant City the weekend before. I live in Mississippi. So I had driven down the weekend before, came back home. I was like, I'm driving back. I'm going. And so that's what I did. I drove back. I tried out. Nate Shook, David Feldman were there. And
so let me stop you here. How did you feel around all these professionals? Did you feel like you fit in? Did you feel like you did well?
I don't ever worry about whether I fit in or not. That's never a thing. It's just like, I'm going to come and make my mark, and I either belong or I don't, and we'll go from there.
I mean, like skill wise, did you think you were up there?
I felt great.
Yeah.
You had to do like 11 minutes of shadow boxing and so many minutes of mitt work and so many rounds of bag work as they were all walking around watching. You had to do like the punchometer to see how hard you can punch. And I just went to have fun. So like this whole thing, it's not like, I mean, like you said, I'm in my 40s. I have 4 kids. 3 of them are really little. So I'm not trying to like be some big fighting superstar mega career. I'm here for the fun. I'm here to see what I'm made of. I'm here to show other people, do whatever you want. Like, don't put yourself in a box by age or station in life, or whether you're a mom or have kids or whatever it is you're doing. If you got a crazy idea and it just seems fun to you, just freaking do it. And that's what I hope I'm representing for everybody.
You definitely are. I mean, it's really crazy for somebody to be 40 years old. Steve, what are your thoughts? That we don't usually see this in combat sports.
I mean, yeah, it's not something you really see in combat sports, but it's not like something that's completely odd anymore. I mean, we're like, I mean, obviously we're in this day and age where, you know, for the past month we were talking about Anderson Silva, 47 years old, you know, even partaking in a boxing match. So it's not really this odd thing where combat sports athletes, you know, blooming, you know, later in life. And in some sense, it's kind of better off in some sense because it's something me and Eddie talk about off air is sometimes as you're older, and you've been in the game and been involved in athletics and things, like your mind is at a I think a higher IQ level when you're later in life. You're able to kind of process things. When you're younger and things come at you, it's more reactatory, and it's not like you're just doing it all off of your skill alone. When you get older, it's more things slow down for you a little bit easier than it would when you're 21, 25, 30.
Yeah, and there is a generation, like I'm the oldest person at my gym. You know what I mean? Like I'm there, but everyone there is so cool. It doesn't feel, age is not a thing when you're in the gym. Age is not a thing when you're training. We're all there with the similar goals and the same sort of like animal inside of us. And honestly, I think we're all kind of there because we got something going on deep inside. And this is like one way we know how to work it out. And whether we have differences or agreements, or whatever, we just all go in there and just get that beast out. Really.
So you were like after the tryouts, right? You're waiting by your phone, waiting.
Oh, waiting forever.
How stressful was that? Did you like at some point were you just like, oh?
Well, they told us, I want to say they said we'll be in contact within like 10 to 14 days or something. And so I was like, okay, I'm waiting. Well, by then I already had everyone's phone number because I had already been working the management side of things for my friend. And so after like 2 weeks went by, I was like, hey, I'm
Well, hold on. Let me stop you. Are you usually like the kind of girl, like say for when you were younger, you see a cute guy, you get his number. Like, what's the general rule on waiting? Like, are you supposed to be the first one to reach out if they don't talk to you?
I have never ever hit on a guy ever in my life. I've never been the aggressor. I never go after anybody. I'm like, if they want me, they'll come.
Same here. It's weird too because like you feel it, like you want to. It's like that song by James Blunt, "I saw you on a train" or whatever it was. And it's like I never had that in me where it was like, I don't know if it's because I was raised by like a single mother where I show too much respect. I see too many guys out there treating women just absolutely awful at parties and stuff. I never wanted to be that kind of person. So in relationships growing up, even for my first kiss, it was like I was so nervous. And even to this day, like I'm still somebody that I don't like making the first move. I feel very uncomfortable. I don't want people to feel like awkward about it. But yet girls say to me, like, why? Like they get offended. They're like, why aren't you making a move? And it's like, it's like I'm trying to be polite. I'm trying to be a gentleman. Like you do something, but then it's like, it never left me, like it's
you
just.
might not want a really aggressive forward girl. You might want one of those polite girls that's kind of waiting on you. I don't know.
I know. Look at me. I deal with a lot of like punk rock girls. It's crazy because I'm 33, right?
Okay.
In 7 years I'm gonna be 40. So it's like, what am I gonna do? Like,
that's so much time. You don't.
Is it? Because I'm getting a little stressed out.
So much can happen in a year. I mean, so like, look at this time frame. I didn't hear back from Nate Shook in the 14-day time frame, right?
14 days. Wow.
So I started like, hello, I'm here, and then it's something I really wanted, so I did become a little more aggressive with it,
sending like Facebook waves and stuff at them, like, hey.
Yeah, like and one day I was leaving boot camp. I was headed back to the gym, and I got a text on my phone that said, hey, would you like to fight on such and such date? And I thought it was for my friend that I was like managing at the time. And I was headed to the gym. I was like, well, I'll see him when I get there and I'll ask him about it. I reread it at the stop sign and I was like, is this for me?
Yeah.
He was like, no, it's for so-and-so. Yes, it's for you. Do you want to fight?
So what was that moment like? What? Yeah, like that.
Yeah. I was in my car. I got to the gym. I ran through the gym. Everyone's watching me like, what is wrong? They knew immediately when they saw me running in.
At what point did it kick in? Like, was there any anxieties kicking in, or was it just like straight excitement?
It was straight excitement because I think I was just too ignorant to know better.
But even like when you stepped in there, like, how were you just as excited?
Well, so my first scheduled fight was supposed to be with Randine Willoughby. I think that's the name she goes by. And so we got or I thought I signed my part of the contract, started to get really super pumped about it. I knew I had a lot of work to do because I had never had a fight before. This was going to be a big deal. You don't wear gloves. I had trained, but I wasn't like an aggressive, like I'm a fighter trainer. I was like, I got a lot to get done in the next 8 to 10 weeks. Well, she had never signed the contract. I messaged her, hey, let's fight. Let's do this. Where are you? Why aren't you coming? You know? And she didn't want to. And then, so that was devastating. That was devastating when I realized we weren't actually going to fight. Like I cried like a baby. So crazy. And then got scheduled with Crystal Petman. So that had a second scheduling. And then the COVID thing took over. And there was COVID drama with that. And then got scheduled again. And then that's when it went down. And I was not very nervous in the back. I don't know why. I think I'm in that mindset. This is fun. Let's just see what happens. What's the worst that can happen? You get a bobo, you get knocked down. You know, what's the worst that can happen? You lose. I'm not scared of those things. So what does it matter? Let's just go and see how this goes. Like, I just wanted to see. And Eric Graham in the back was like, Audra, it's making me nervous. You're not more nervous. Like, he said that to me several times.
Like, I'm a stone cold killer, coach. Leave me alone.
I didn't know. I was just like, I'm just ready for the experience. And it ended up being a really good time. And of course, I lost to points, but I went all 5 rounds. I took some tough shots over and over. I made all the newbie mistakes, of course, but this was my one thing. I was like, look, when I go out there, I know I'm not the best of the best. I know I need so much more training. I just don't want to look like an asshole. If I lose, fine. I just don't want to look like an asshole losing. And I don't think that I looked like an asshole. We got a standing ovation. It was a ton of fun. I was on cloud 9. That was back in January. And here we are again. And now that I know, and I'm working with a specific boxing coach, Joshua Brown. He is amazing. I knew what to train for. I knew what I needed to feel. I knew what kind of effort I needed to put in. I knew what to visualize this time. And it's just going to be a totally different fight. Like now I'm like really excited.
Now, obviously, you're on a pretty big card. You got Houston Alexander and Mr. Beltran headlining the Omaha Nebraska card. Are you gonna who are you rooting for that one? I think we literally just had both of them on. Love both guys, both their their UFC runs, Bellator runs. Obviously, Joey's basically he's the OG of BKFC at this point in time. So who are you feeling here? I mean, obviously, Houston's on a 2-fight win streak. It's almost looking like every time they come to Omaha, he's like, "Hey, just put my name on the card."
Yeah, he's such a. We were on the same podcast last night, and we got to play like a little hip hop knowledge game together. And he's got like a doctorate in hip hop or something. Like,
he's a DJ. He's awesome, dude. Like all I gotta say, we just had him on there. Anybody who's in the Nebraska area and you're having an event, make sure you reach out to Houston. He is he's a hip hop knowledge. He's obviously being a professional fighter, he's gonna have some things he can talk about and do some things with the crowd too. He's definitely somebody you want to bring in for an event.
Yeah, did you guys know he's 50? He's 50 years old. So
he looked like he just hit 40. If you really look at Houston Alexander, he don't look like he's 50 years old.
No, and he doesn't act like it. And he was so awesome. He was so nice. But I know and love Joey too. And like this is the thing too. Like I love Britain, but I also love Christine Perriera. So when they had their fight, I was like,
pulling my hair out. No.
And Britain Hart's mom, she is amazing.
Oh yes.
She's
Mrs. Sweetheart.
She's one of a kind in the combat sports world. With combat sports moms, it's definitly her. Misha Tate's mom's definitely really high up on my list.
Khalil Roundtree's mom, shut up.
Well, I connected with Monica because she reached out to me after. She's so supportive. She heard like my mom hates this. Like she hates that I do this. And after my fight with Crystal, I went home, for the weekend, and my bruises were healed, thank goodness, because she would have freaked out. But she held her phone to my face, and it was a still shot of Crystal like this, and me like, you know, she goes, "Look at this, Audra." I was like, "So what, Mom? I hit her too. It's fine. We're not doing it."
Yeah, what is this? A bad report card? Come
You should
on.
be like, wait a second, Mom. What about this one?
Yeah, look at the other girls. How about $5 a month for OnlyFans, Mom? Not doing that. How about I haven't shaved my head or have a face tattoo, Mom? Right?
Yeah, so Monica offered to talk to my mom. She's like, "Look, I'm a mom. I'll talk to your mom." And I was like, that is the greatest offer ever, but you don't know my mom. Like,
you don't know my mom.
Yeah.
I think you do, but you don't know her.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
man.
Your mom, one of the ones that would jump over the barrier and be like, "You're hitting my child. No one told
That's
you."
what threatens.
You're like, "Mom, I'm a grown woman with 4 children. Let me do what I want to do here. If I want to fight these..."
Talk about like sex or anything like that. Because I'm the child. Audra, you're still the child. I was like,
oh man, that's funny.
So when you say you're the youngest?
So I'm mom's only child.
Oh, me too. I'm an only child too. So you're definitely extra protected. So has your mom like grown comfortable to it, or is she just appalled by it?
He's like, man.
So
she just puts up with it, right?
I have a fight coming up. She doesn't even know.
Oh, really? Now she's gonna know.
She has friends on Facebook that like watch me and then like will tell her what I'm up to.
You got spies on your Facebook.
And I'm like, how did you know that? Because I didn't tell you that. And then I'll see her friends like liking my stuff or whatever. I'm like, okay, I know who ratted me out. So that's one of her friends told her about my posts, my fight posts. I don't think she knows. She hasn't mentioned it.
Oh man, that's crazy.
It's crazy. I can go into a ring and fight bare knuckle with a girl I don't know, but I can't tell my mom stuff.
Like, so for this whole thing, like, how does like your kids feel about?
Oh, my kids are great. So my kids are in
They love it.
Kickboxing. They're in the gym life. They play in the boxing ring with their other gym friends while I'm taking kickboxing classes and stuff like that. So they've been involved for like 3 or 4 years as well from the jump. So they love it. They came to my first fight. I really wanted them there. Some people didn't think that was a good idea, but I was like, well, they're around it. They've seen it. We've had the talk about, you know, hey, mommy's face might get messed up.
That touches on a previous question me and Eddie had gone over is bringing kids to big, big prize fights a no-go. And I say it's 50-50. It's up to how, like you're a parent, you know how your child reacts to things. You know the type of things that go on. There's a 50-50 chance that you're going to win the fight and get knocked out. There's a 50-50 chance that you're going to win the fight and knock somebody out.
However,
way is that they see mommy out there trying something really hard, being really tough, and no, they don't have to be scared of anything. And if they want to try something, they get, knocked down figuratively or literally. You just get back up and you keep going and look at my mom. I hope it brings a sense of pride and a feeling of safety and love and accomplishment. The same message that I'm trying to send to everybody else out there. Don't worry about your age or station in life. If you want to do it, you got to work your ass off for it, but you can do it. It's a lot of sacrifice, but if you're willing to figure that out, how to make that fit in your life and eliminate all excuses, you can make it happen. I
always say somebody's next in line for what you want to do. Why not you? But you say something really important there. Takes a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication. And I see for a lot of journalists out there, they'll get into it. They'll be so happy. But then when the work comes, you get burnt out, you start losing the love for it. You got to really enjoy what you do.
Rejected, and well, that's it. I got rejected. Like hell nah, you ain't rejecting me. I will come back over and over and over again until you say yes. You're not going to deny me.
Or I'm going to text you after 14 days, and we'll go from there.
I will all your Facebook posts, and I will. That's how I ended up in a phone call with Mike Dolce.
Oh, really? Yeah. Let's get to that. For people out there who don't know Mike Dolce, Steve, I mean, this is an absolute legend there. I would actually love to try some of his stuff on UFC Fight Pass for a while. They had some of his videos discussing his routine. So, Steve, what's your fondest memory of him?
It was just on
Ultimate Fighter, right?
Yeah, it has to be tough.
Yeah. So how did this unravel here? Were you familiar with who he was?
Oh yeah, I've been doing Dolce diet for several years off and on.
That's a promo cut right there. Snap that.
7% body fat with that dude.
So what is it about? Like, my mom's on a diet. She's doing the keto diet. Like, I brought home pizza tonight. She was like, "Get that fucking shit on my face. You burn a hole in the couch." And fucking now I'm flooding the bathroom and shit. But yeah, how does this how does it go? Like, for people starting out, like, what was it like for you?
Like, what specifically the diet is like? So, like, first of all, it's a crap ton of food, and you're like, I gotta eat all this. And I really, the whole first week was practicing just getting all that food down. It was just so much. And it's counterintuitive, right? Because everyone you talk to thinks you have to starve yourself to lose weight. No, you got to feed your body. Your body has its own trust system, right? Like, but without your mind being involved. And if it doesn't trust you to nourish it, it hangs on to fat just in case it needs it.
Even more for women as well, because yeah.
So Mike Dolce takes that and he flips the bird and says, "Hey, we are going to stuff your guts." And then after the first week, so basically it's a taper. So you start with like 4 eggs and peppers and spinach and all this stuff, right? And then the second week is 3 eggs, same amount of peppers. The third week, 2 eggs, the same amount of peppers. So basically it's a big plate of peppers with like eggs sprinkled on top.
What does the peppers do? Like,
it's thermic. You know, there's a thermic effect. There's your body reacts and digests certain foods in different ways. I talked to him specifically about eggs versus a protein shake at night, and he said, well, eggs are more thermic. It increases your metabolism as they digest. It builds the heat in the body. You burn more digesting it than you would a protein shake. And so that's the whole thing, is what foods are thermic. So it's like it's actually oatmeal in the morning with berries, eggs for lunch.
That sounds delicious.
Yeah.
The Mike Dolce delicious diet.
But basically the only carbs that you're having on the Dolce diet is fruit, because fruit is technically a carb. So you have a ton of fruit in the diet, and then you have like he calls it sumo stir-fried chicken and asparagus and spinach at night. But it's the same thing for like 3 days, and then on the 4th day you might get salmon or you might get a salad, and then you go back to the same thing for 3 days, only the portions change. But by the end of the this is only 3 weeks.
The Dolce Diner diet.
My abs are coming in right now, by the way. But sick. Like, you're just eating so much and you think you're just going to be like, boo. By the end of it, you're waking up like looking really good.
Like the Liver King. Like the Liver King. You start growing a beard, getting all ripped, just start eating raw livers.
I got 11% body fat, 122 pounds, something like that. This was just a few years ago. And he asked me for that picture. He's like, "Did you take a picture?" I was like, "Absolutely." He's like, "Will you send it to me?" He said, "Will you send me your picture at your worst and your best so I can see?" I said, "Yes, sir." I showed him the book of his that I have. He goes, "Wow, that book is worn out. You are definitely a Dolce girl." I was like, on it.
So for people out there listening, I think you said you start with 4 eggs, then 2, and then just peppers?
Yeah, 4 eggs the first week, 3 eggs the second week, 2 eggs the third week. But it's just a matter of wholesome proteins and carb, all your macros, and then you just taper down as the week.
When you're going through weight cutting and stuff, do you still follow along with this, or?
Absolutely, it's the perfect weight cut diet because it's 21 days and 20 pounds. I didn't have pounds to lose. That's why I got down so lean. I think I only lost like 8 to 10 pounds. That's all I had. But a woman at 11% body fat, that's unheard of. And doctors don't want females below 12% body fat, but it's okay because I was doing it athletically. So they were okay with that. Plus I was training twice a day, 2-3 times a day. And so it all goes together. You can't really have one without the other. People who just diet with their nutrition but don't tone, they'll lose all the fat, but then they're kind of like saggy, hangy. You want to tone at the same time. There's so much science to it.
because my mom was doing isogenic. Stipe Miocic was doing it for a while, and you have to like fast almost. You have to like cleanse your body, and people have such a hard time doing things like this. The Dolce diet sounds like something I would love to do.
Yeah, it's really good. He has the book. You can buy the book. It has it laid out day by day by day by day. It looks like a novel, but it's your daily diet. It's not like do this for the week. It's like here's today, with exact measurements. It's so easy to read. But look, it's a lot of food. It is a grocery bill. It's dedicated. You gotta meal prep. You can't just say, I think I'll try it. You got to say, I'm going
for it. Kind of like you did with bare knuckle, right? So I really want to talk about this. Since you're so new to it, do you like when you get sized up with an opponent, do you really look into it? Do you go browsing social media and see what it's all about for your opponent, or do you kind of leave that to the team?
I do a little bit of research, just enough to kind of get a feel for my opponent. But I don't like to put all my eggs in that basket because you don't. I mean, they may not fight like the fight you found on YouTube. They may not fight that anymore. They might have a new trick up their sleeve. They may have learned something between then and now. But I do like to know, like my opponent this time. What I love about her, she's a mommy of 3. She's a actual physician. She's a career woman, a family woman. She's like me. She's not obsessed in the gym all the time with the 20-year-olds. It's, not who she is. It's part of who she is, like myself. And so I felt like, okay, this is going to be a great match because we're kindred in that sense. So yeah. I am excited about that, but I take a peek, I get a feel, and then I just make my plan and go about my life and my plan and what I need to do. And because I don't want to put too much on what I found on the internet. You don't ever know. So
now, well, I guess one last one before we wrap this one up, Audra. Obviously, you said January was the first one. It's been, you had some time. What should fans expect differently? Like, obviously, you said I made rookie mistakes. I learned this. It was fun. What should fans see differently in your performance this time compared to what we've seen earlier this year?
Okay, so if you look at my last fight, it was very robotic. It was very stiff. I didn't use a whole lot of defense, and so that's all different. I'm working with Coach JB Joshua Brown at the Sweatbox in Hattiesburg. He has taught me so much about just the traditional boxing and getting my hands fast and my footwork fast, and a lot of defense drills, and of course offense as well. He's just he has such a cool story. I told it last night. He never gave me permission to share it. I hope it's okay. But like he grew learning how to fight on the streets because so I think it was his uncles, he said, started like a betting ring with like the kids in the neighborhood and put the kids together. And he like literally had to fight his way up the ladder because it was that or is him or the other kid. And then he turned it into a career. He's a certified boxing coach. He has his own gym. He trains one-on-one in group settings. He's just amazing. And like I said last night, he speaks my love language. He works like he'll say, get in your stance. He'll say, pause, and he'll just come around and he will just move my body just a little bit, and correct me, and if I get it wrong, I got to do push-ups.
Oh God.
Or I got to start the round over. He'll start the clock over.
I'm so bad at push-ups. Like they were doing the challenge where you do 10 the first day or 10, then 20, then 30 for like veterans or something. I tried so hard. I thought I had it in me because I used to be so athletic. If you don't do it for a while, man, you're like,
if a week goes by without me doing push-ups, I'm back to square one. You can never stop doing your push-ups. You just can't. But as far as what's going to be different this time is, let's just say everything.
I like what you're saying there because nothing's ever the same. You can go watch old footage like UFC 281's coming up, right? And these two have fought before in the past, but you don't know. Not only is it not kickboxing anymore, but it's also, years later, these fighters have evolved. So it's really hard to go off past footage. You might have new tricks. So it's really, really interesting how much you've picked up as such a new like a new part of this huge roster over at BKFC. I mean, we're really rooting for you over here. Do you have like any fight on this card that you're looking forward to actually watching?
Well, really, because I just know Joey and of Houston and didn't meet him till last night. That's the main one. But other than that, like, okay, so I heard Clarissa Shields say something that I've really just taken to heart. She said she's so giving when she's not in fight camp. She said she's so giving to everyone around her, her family, you know, whoever is involved in her life. But when she gets into fight camp, it's her one time she feels okay being selfish. And so because I give to my clients, people at the gym, my little kids' classes, my own 4 kids, because I give so much. I've taken this time to be extremely selfish, and I haven't really even studied the card because I'm really studying what I need to study. Meditation, mindset, everything I need to do. Like right before I came on here, I was just in a really hot bath in the dark with a candle.
And then the kids came in and just wrecked it all.
It was before the bath that I had to take.
Oh man. At least the kids aren't flooding your bathroom or burning holes in the couch. Audra, I want to thank you so much for joining us here on Combat Deviants. What we usually like to do at this point in the interview is hand the imaginary microphone over to you if you have any shout outs, sponsors, anything at all that you would like to say. The floor is now all yours.
Sponsors right now. First of all, I love my people at Graham MMA and the Sweatbox and my new coach JB. I can't praise his name enough. My sponsors are Gatwood Homes here in Hattiesburg. They clear land, they do new construction. They're amazing people. They sponsor every single time. They bought me my portable sauna to take with me to Nebraska to finish up my weight cut. So thank you, Homes. St. Pete Med Spa in St. Pete, Florida, owned by my absolute best friend for the past 20 years. That's my fountain of youth at St. Pete Med Spa. They're wonderful over there. Balanced Body by Amanda Morris. She does all my restorative yoga, stretches and realigns my whole body out. My massage therapist, Manny at the Lotus in downtown Hattiesburg. He always tacks on an additional 30 minutes at no extra charge for me just to give me everything I need and work me totally out. He's amazing. I'm working with a new guy in the business, but he's really great for all your promotional needs. Reckless Promotions is what that's called. He comes up with some really cool videos and ads and stuff like that. Everything from outerwear, anything else. And then last but not least, Kalispell Nutrition out of Montana. They found me on Instagram and have been like the sole provider of everything I've needed for this fight camp. It's been an amazing experience working with Kalispell Nutrition. And I am donating my purse to the Big Fish Foundation. And Big Fish is they make an impact against veteran suicide. So on this Veterans Day, if you don't know who Big Fish Foundation is, please look them up. It's BigFish_Foundation on Instagram. The guy who runs it is amazing. You should Google Brian Chantosh. He is an incredible veteran himself. So you guys got to check that out if you don't know who they are. So thank you for letting me shout all those amazing.
What about your social media? Where can we find you on social media?
Everything's my name, Audra Cummings. On Facebook, it's Audra Cummings. Same thing on Instagram, Audra Cummings. I keep it easy peasy.
There you go, Audra. Thank you so much. We cannot wait for this upcoming fight, and we wish you best of skill.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. This was so much fun. You guys are awesome.
All right, we'll talk to you soon.
Friend. Have a good one. Best of skill.
That was awesome, Steve. What a great interview right there.
I already told you she's like I said, I think Houston hit it home like last week how we like to kind of dig into people and kind of find the stories underneath the combat sports stuff and things of that nature. So it's always cool having people like Audrey. She literally just fell in love with combat sports and became a fighter that way. It wasn't like she was just like this is something that done from a young age and just started making her way up and
she loves it too.
World. It's just combat sports just happens to do that to you, right? Whether it's boxing, it's jiu-jitsu, it's wrestling, whether it's pro or or Olympic level wrestling. Like there's just so many different ways to pull you in. Muay Thai, kickboxing, there's just so many different aspects of it to have parts of it that just becomes one with what the human does. Like it's just there's something about
jump right into bare
and
knuckle too.
being,
Like
she was talking about it, like how like we just get in that environment, we just kind of unleash the beast, like with her team talking about getting ready for fights, things of that nature. It's just if you haven't been in a high level gym like that, you haven't seen it, you haven't heard it, you haven't smelt it. And yes, there is a smell to it if you've been around enough gyms.
That's so great. It's just weird to me that somebody would go right into bare knuckle. And I was rewatching it the other night, a bunch of fights like Reggie Barnett's fight, and I forgot, like, we say BKFC bare knuckle, but we forget it's actually bare knuckle. Like it's actually brutal, which reminds me, how do you get more brutal than bare knuckle other than slapping? Steve, have you heard this? UFC is bringing on slap fighting.
It's kind of the thing that's been coming out. A good friend of mine, friend of the program, somebody who's been around, fighters and management, stuff like that, said to me about 2 months ago, he's like, Steve, he's like, I need you to keep an eye out for slap boxing championships. I'm like, well, are we serious about this? Slap boxing championships? This is gonna be a thing? Isn't this what we used to prove that we were tough dudes when we were like 15 years old, right? So you used to slap box everybody. So apparently Dana White, TNT, TBS, whatever it is,
it's on TBS.
It's an idea, and there's gonna be an Ultimate Fighter type reality show with a slap boxing championship.
8 1-hour episodes that will showcase the world's best slappers competing for championship titles across multiple weight classes. And man, I got my boy Slap for Cash, who was on the Logan Paul, the slap that changed my life, that really started the whole boxing thing, Steve. I would love to have him on for Combat Deviants very soon. He's actually best friends with Nick and Nate Diaz as well. So, when he was telling me he does slap competitions and he started showing me, dude, some of these guys, when they get knocked out, man, it looks bad because, listen, they're standing there like this. They hold both sides of the table, Steve, like this, and then they're getting slapped around. How do you make a reality show out of something like this? Television debut, TBS in January, 8 1-hour episodes, like an hour long. Could you really sit there for an hour watching slaps? Or I would tune in for 3 or 4, but an hour, how well do you think this is going to really do here?
I don't know, man. Like it all, like in reality, when you do like regardless about building up the sport of what slap boxing is gonna be, etc. So,
yeah, like how do you judge? Like,
I think it's gonna be about the characters, the people you bring in. Like,
how do you win it? Like, you just got to
get
knocked out.
It's gonna be made or break on the personalities of the people they bring in to do this, not just who's the best, who's the strongest, things of that nature.
And they got state regulations too from NSAC just last month, which really is pushing this whole thing forward. I know it's huge overseas, but are you going to be watching it? Am I going to be watching? Is this going to be a thing that we're going to start covering now? Are they going to start competing? It's just weird, dude. Because
it is weird. It's one of these things like you have to.
It's like an Instagram thing.
Scratch your head, like, hey, listen, Dana's putting his name behind it. I mean,
I'll watch it on like YouTube Shorts. I can't sit there for an hour though. Like, it's a little out of my.
Like I said, it really depends on like who, like it's just like how like what made the Ultimate Fighter big that first season. It's something we talked about. That's been missing. Is just
Chris Lieben destroying
like those first handful of seasons. They had so many stars come out of those seasons. Not just guys who were like veterans on the scene, but young guys who stayed with the UFC. And Nate Diaz leaving is one of the last kind of few ones that they have from it. I mean, I guess Tony Ferguson was one of the earlier, I guess, first 10 show winners that was in there. He's been, he's had, more than 20 fights in the UFC, things of that nature. So I'm going to go back to say it will be making or breaking, not on how much money's put into it, not how much promotion on it, but how well the fans connect with the guys or girls, whoever. I don't know how they're going to do that, if they have any females on if there's going to be female slapbox division. However,
I would be down for that. Yeah.
That's going to work. But I mean, it's just going to be it's going to be made or break on the personalities of the guys that they bring on the show.
Huge point. Yeah, exactly. And now, Steve, what people really want to know about here, and let's just jump right into it. UFC 281 going down this weekend. Ceremony weigh-ins happened today. We got a crazy main event. I don't want to talk about that. The one fight I'm really interested in seeing is Dustin Poirier going in there against Michael Chandler.
Yeah,
Michael
the number one contender fight, without a doubt, is absolutely a number one contender fight. Anyone that wants to tell me any differently, you can come at me. We can have a conversation about this. Well, but anyway, Michael Chandler is arguably probably the best UFC fighter that they've ever yanked out of Bellator MMA, without a doubt. And that's even me sitting there saying that, being an Eddie Alvarez stained to the highest degree.
Well, there's a difference. Eddie Alvarez played it safe.
A recent anniversary of Michael Chandler, and Eddie Alvarez won. So it's one of these things. It's hard for me to say that, but without a doubt, the Michael Chandler's body work speaks for itself. He is one more. I think he's probably the more well-rounded fighter, and that's just because he has world-class wrestling. We talk about this so much when we talk about combat sports. If you have world-class wrestling, it trumps not having this or being inefficient at that. Now that being said, Michael Chandler absolutely can throw them things. He can throw
that's
them.
Justin Gaethje.
He can throw them 4-ounce gloves just about as anyone at 155 pounds. And then that doesn't mean that Michael Chandler is going to be bowling through Dustin Poirier. Dustin Poirier has made his
this
mark
is not going
in this division for. Oh, you got to say, go ahead, brother. What do you got?
I'm just telling you, it's not going to different distance.
Oh, without a doubt. I think without a doubt, these two are going to get one another within inside of a different distance. They should send the judges in the back, tell them to have a soda, go get yourself some popcorn, a hot dog, whatever. We ain't gonna need you for this one.
Here's my thing.
I do, however, think it will go into at least the third round before we get a stoppage out of either one of them. I think we are going to see a classic lightweight back and forth brawl between Dustin Poirier and Michael Chandler. I'm putting it in now. Mark it down. Fight of the night. I would. If there's a prop bet on that, somebody go and take it.
Yeah. Here's my thing though, Steve. With this fight, we're used to seeing Dustin Poirier be a smarter fighter ever since the Michael Johnson fight. Before that, we've seen him do the grandfather walk, get too excited, and then get caught up and knocked out. With Michael Chandler saying, it doesn't matter to me if I win a title anymore. It doesn't matter if I win or lose. What people are going to really remember me for is the entertainment aspect of this, if they're going to remember this fight. So I really don't think that Dustin the Diamond is going to be playing it safe. They're going to go in there and actually have fun. I think they've taken a little breath of fresh air, not worrying about the title anymore. Have you realized that in the past couple of years, people aren't really too concerned about the title? It's not that big of a deal to them at this stage in their careers, like Eddie, like Dustin or Michael Chandler. They just want to go in there and have a good time and really put on to get that $50K.
I think at this point in time, like when you look at it at this point in time where you're both of these guys, you have to think, I think Chandler probably has a better chance of obtaining the title right now. He's probably hungrier to obtain the title. So you say there's that perceived pressure to win this fight, to go be able to go challenge the 155-pound champion at the moment. Do I think it would mean less pressure for Dustin? No, I think it's even more because he's been so close to the title. He's had that interim status and things of that nature, and just
now the official hot sauce of the UFC too.
Hasn't been able to kind of clear that, so he doesn't have a definitive championship run in him over the past few years.
That's a good statement.
It's safe to say that Charles Oliveira stole that from him.
Yeah.
And he also stole that from himself with the weight losing debacle and having everything. Like, everything has been so unstable since Khabib retired at 155 pounds. It is absolutely insanity. But in the promotional part of things, you couldn't ask for a better situation. If you're Dana White and the figureheads over there at them, you have to be like, oh my God, I can't ask for a better situation. And now Eddie's going to be bringing up some of the tweets of the weeks that we had found over the past week. Got to give shout out to our favorite Twitter account, Dumb MMA Tweets.
Let me play this real quick before we get into All right, Steve. So you actually showed me this one here. It says people go on and on how lightweight is the best division, but this has been the most boring division in my mind the past 5 years. Are you out of your mind? It's better than ever. Steve, what are your thoughts here?
Listen, these people who are making these tweets didn't go through the time there was no lightweight division, when there was just sparing fights at 155 pounds. You didn't go through all that. You don't know what you're talking about boringest time in the past 5 years. When BJ Penn was trying to rule two divisions at the same time because there was nobody, and that's the only reason why they were trying to entertain a two division champion, is because there was no one for him to fight. They had to bring Jens Pulver in, who I mean, no offense to Jens, he's not an elite level lightweight. Nothing,
but he's got that strike.
One of the greatest, I guess, personalities in combat sports that's in the early ages is Jens Pulver. But to sit there and say this division like I just said, it's been in a weird state of flux since Khabib. But even before Khabib, you're sitting there telling me Conor McGregor's run what wasn't fun. We were just talking about Frankie Edgar. You think that the fights Frankie Edgar and BJ Penn had weren't amazing? We didn't just come through an amazing run at 105 pounds?
But he's saying the last 5 years haven't been that exciting. I think it's even way better than it's ever been, Steve. And now we have, Khabib out of the picture. For a while, it's like, get stale, like the heavyweight division. And then you had Derek Lewis, Francis Ngannou come in. The lightweight division is one of my favorite divisions. Steve, what about you? What is that? It's got to be one of the top two there. I mean, look at that division itself. Insane.
I mean, I think when you really think of it, it's like they're like the bastard stepchild of it. It's been a division that's kind of been overlooked. You get to a certain point with it, and a lot of the guys they run either go to 45 or they go up to 70. It's one of those. I think it's one of those tweener divisions. Like, I still think that if you find another weight class that in between it, where like we've talked about it, in between 55 and 70. We've always talked about this, have we not? It's one of the reasons why I feel some fans feel that way, is because you see a lot of flux between the 45ers and the 70ers and the 100 and the 155 pound lightweight guys. I feel that it's not the premier weight class, but I think when you look at 155 pound guys, it has to be one of the top 5 weight classes that we talk about when we talk about combat sports, regardless if we're talking MMA or if we're talking boxing. It doesn't matter. I think they're one of the more exciting fighters in the world. And
we got our next
exciting fighters in the world. We're being joined by our guest this evening.
There he is,
Mr. Flowers, Mr. Beast Mode. Appreciate the time this evening. Sorry for my mistake with the time zones.
All good, bro.
Darris, we're right now talking about a very important tweet here. We're doing tweets of the week, right? And somebody had the nerve to say this here. We have people go on and on how lightweight is the best division, but this has been the most boring division in my mind in the last 5 years. We totally disagree with this. What are your thoughts here?
Fuck, I forgot I'm on an interview. I got crazy thoughts. But you know what? I trained with Rick Glenn today. Rick Glenn is
Oh, he's been
he
on the
isn't
show.
ranked, he isn't ranked in the top 10, but he's a top 10 um guy. I don't know if you guys seen the fight with Grant Dawson and Rick Glenn.
Yeah, we actually know him very well over here. He's been on the
Okay.
show years
Yeah, so
ago.
I'm going to be training with him a lot more. He's a black belt. He actually tapped me a few times today. He just has really good transition. And, when you first train with a new black belt, you got to get comfortable with what they're good with. So, but before I rolled with him, I would say that all those guys are ass, which I still think they are. A lot of those dudes are
Well,
ass.
because you want to be the lightweight world champion. You actually really
Right.
want to follow
I
Habib's
will
style.
be. I will be. I will be. I will be for sure. Cause
So
I get better fast. Like
my
I really.
question to you, the whole Dana White Tuesday Night Contender Series. Can we start right there, Darris?
Yeah, absolutely.
You had one of the craziest highlights coming out of Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series. How are you going to top that in the UFC?
By being a champion, by winning fights, like I don't care about that stuff, bro. I don't care. Everybody thinks I don't like. I stopped doing martial arts for cloud and shit. Like I'm a great martial artist, but I'm like the best entrepreneur that ever lived. But I need more money, so that's why I fight. But I'm passionate about it as well, and I'm really good at it. So you know what I mean, like. You know what I'm saying? There's more reasons why I do martial arts than clout chasing. Well, look at you know what I mean. I don't fight for like knockouts like that, but it comes with me. That's why my name is Beast Mode. You know what I'm saying?
And it's absolutely crazy, man, because at one point in your career, I think you said you did like 33 fights or something like that in 24 months. Your amateur career, you had 18 fights. What was the decision to go pro? I mean, you really have been taking this really seriously. That's the way to go to make sure you're ready to become pro. What was it where you decided, I'm absolutely ready for this right now? Oh, your audio just cut.
Oh man. Got a little technology, brother.
Like my talent has always been raw from the beginning to now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it wasn't about being ready to go pro. It was more so having the right people around me. You know what I mean? Like and having the right people behind me in this career, and that's why I ended up with a 12-5 record before I got to the UFC because of, in this game you can't do this shit alone. You know what I mean? Like at the higher levels, you gotta have higher level guys around you and behind you. You know what I'm saying? So I wasn't ready to go pro in that sense. You know what I mean?
Well, I realized with you, there's fights in your past where the judges really kind of screwed you.
Yeah. Well, I absolutely like one fight in Chicago. I unanimously beat the shit out of this kid, and he acted like I need him in the nuts twice, and they took a point from me, and that ended up being the draw because it was his hometown or whatever. But I was fighting for decisions back then, so it really I can't blame anybody but myself. Like I don't fight for decisions anymore. I don't fight to finish a fight in decisions. But you know what I'm saying? Like we'll talk about that more. I won't.
Well, you had a fight against former UFC fighter Adam Sella, right?
Yeah,
And I
that was
thought
like my third pro
you
fight.
clearly won the fight, but one judge goes 30-27 for you. The other one had it 30-27 for him. It's like, how do two different judges see that? Like, what are they
You know what?
going
That is crazy that you say that because that that was before the rule change though. That was before the rule change with the ABC about how fights were scored. But I still keep that in the back of my head about how you know what I'm saying, crazy judging is. Like you said, one judge had it all 3 rounds one way and the other one had it all 3 rounds another way. I've never still to this day seen that. You know what I mean? So that was another really key factor of me not going to decision. Like, that's just like real life shit right there. You know what I mean? Like, when shit like that happens, it's just like, bro, you really can't leave it up to the judges. Those are eye openers.
So going into the Dana White Tuesday Night Contender Series, I don't mean to cut Steve off. I'm just really excited about this because when I tuned in that night, everyone was all about the 17-year-old, right? Everyone had their eyes on the 17-year-old
Shout out
kid.
to that kid, man. Shout out to the badass 17-year-olds.
Did you get to meet him? Did you think that his performance was on par at 17?
He's UFC ready.
So what do you think that your performance was better than his? Because I would say yours definitely took the show, but everyone was talking about him.
Well, shit, I had the best. Because like, you know what I'm saying, when I was speaking earlier, like in the sense of when you asked me a question earlier, and I was speaking in another sense, I can't really say that like my performance was better, but overall, like my interview, I feel like I've had the best interview this season for sure. One of the best interviews in general, and that alone, you know, catapults me up to, you know what I'm saying, performance wise. Like, you know what I mean? Like overall, like my performance inside of the cage was great, but outside of the cage is the reason why I feel like a lot of people are even talking about me in the, you know, anyway, he's 17 years old, so he deserves to be talked about. You know what I'm saying? But overall, I feel like I had one of the best performances when you add everything into it, like how I got the people in it, the energy, you know what I mean? Like the aggression and obviously a cool, different, unique finish. But like you gotta like add everything up. You can't, you know what I'm saying, just look at the finish, like, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of those guys don't even speak English. Yeah. So like it's just like you can do the best thing in the fucking world, but you can't understand and you just cut it off. You can't. Nobody wants to hear translators, especially not at a fucking press conference or interview. It's like it's too much.
Yo, you just spoke on something that no one in media ever wants to sit there and say, because they don't want to sit there and downplay, you know, somebody just because they're from a different part of the world or ever. But no, I definitely agree with you when it comes down to the sport of promoting combat sports. You definitely don't want a translator at the press conference in the cage or anything like that. You want to be able to connect with the fighter, and that's what helps you guys kind of grow.
Right. Well, and there's nothing wrong with it because everybody has their what do you call it? Born language. You know what I mean? But I just feel like some people lack effort to learn English, and I feel like that's disrespect. And I feel like some people lack effort to just speak it because they know it and they just choose not to. I don't know what that's all about, but I peeped that a lot. I feel like people just don't speak English when they should or they could, or they don't try to learn it when they you know what I mean? Everybody has the opportunity.
I think everyone needs to take a page out of Anderson Silva's book because he was probably the biggest Brazilian superstar the UFC's ever had, and he went out of his way to make sure he did not only the Portuguese, but he would also go and make sure he had the English part down as well. I think that's why he is such a big star as he was, because he was able to push that barrier.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I absolutely agree.
Now, Darris,
as far as your fight goes, man, you know, that obviously you talked
about. Somebody said, "Ask if the slam was illegal," which we know the answer to, but I'm going to ask you guys just so more people can ask questions, just to help you guys channel.
Yeah, that's no problem.
So what do you guys
think? Bring it on.
Was it illegal?
Yeah, that's what people were asking.
What do you guys think?
No, absolutely not.
Listen, I don't see how anyone can sit there and say it's illegal or anything.
Yeah.
Well, it's not like not like your intention was like, I'm gonna slam him, I'm gonna make him break his shoulder. No, that wasn't the intention. He jumped on you how you jumped on him.
Honestly, my intention was for him to let me go, but I didn't care what happened to, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't feel sorry for he don't feel sorry for me. And I watched all his fights. I knew his charisma and what he was all about. And I had some dude message me, bro, about that kid. saying he's a piece of shit, which he was. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't have any good energy. You know what I mean? Like, I stopped feeling sorry for, like, bad guys.
You're in a sport where you can't feel sorry for it. Like when you're in the cage, you woman, like I'm not gonna
feel
well,
you still though, like, you know what I mean? Like,
I'm gonna make you pay for it.
Yeah, but you still don't want to go out there and hurt another man that has to go back home to his family. Especially
but it wasn't like you're on like Bruce Marco Harris level where you're just trying to break his freaking.
But it is a game of eat or get ate. You know what I mean? But like I said, I feel for the good people. You know what I mean? More so because, like I said, it's still life at the end of the day. But for the people that I feel like are pieces of shit, I really don't have any remorse.
I know what you mean. There's some amazing people in combat sports, but there's some world class D bags, and some. I think a lot of people look forward to seeing someone turn this person light out, or someone watching them take an L, or something like that. But
it's people plotting on my downfall, bro. Like, you know, everybody goes through personal shit, so you know, and there's people out there just waiting on, you know, negativity from me. You know what I mean? Like. That's what I call, like, you know what I'm saying, douchebags, pieces of shit, people that plots on other people's downfall, like, you know what I mean.
There's a whole lot of that in the world. Yeah, Eddie's got one. So
sure.
Since you had a I guess a WWE-esque finish, right?
Correct.
We've seen this as part of our dumb tweets of the week. Something about MMA wouldn't exist without pro wrestling. Do you feel that's a legitimate thing? I think there's aspects of pro wrestling that we see in combat sports, but I don't think one would necessarily not be there without the
other. I can't answer that, bro.
The reason I brought that up because I know that you're a huge Stone Cold Steve Austin fan.
Yeah, and just really thinking. See, Gladiator shit was already, that was something, you know, that existed, you know, back in the day. So I really have to see, like, when did they, which one existed first, you know, or did they coexist? But I can't answer the question until I know, because I know, like, I would consider Gladiator as a martial arts sport. Would you?
Yeah.
Right, so like I would have to see, like, were they doing any kind of? I think they were already doing. I don't know.
I think it was like Greco-Roman wrestling back in those days, but it wasn't like pro wrestling like what we see today with the.
What's still
WWE.
The concept, though? You know what I mean? Like, I would just have to see which one would be first, because wrestling probably. I don't know. I honestly don't know which one came first. It just depends on which one came first, because you got to really think about it. Like, if wrestling was first, then that would be like. Where gladiator shit would derive from, you know what I mean? Like, you know, like the wrestling, growing up, seeing those guys wrestling. I don't know. I have no idea. Gladiator probably came before wrestling. Technique. It depends on when they start doing technique, bro.
So I got to ask this, man. 185-pound Ultimate Fighter 5 years ago you wanted to try out for. Are you happy you didn't do that? Are you happy that you went with the Ultimate Fight? Happy that we went with Dana White's Contender Series instead of doing something like the Ultimate Fighter? Is that something you actually really wanted to do?
Oh, back in the day, 185 5 years ago, niggas was trash. I was good enough back then, believe it or not. I'm just like I was always a raw enough talent. Like, I always had wrestling, I always had, you know what I mean? And then, like, I wouldn't say I did bad at 185. I just wasn't naturally, like, right now my weight naturally is like closer to 175, which has never been like that in my life. But before, it was closer to 195, 200, you know. So I mentally I felt, and I always felt good. So, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like I would have did good, because 5 years ago MMA was a whole different ball game. You know what I mean? I would have did all right. I probably wouldn't have made it, because I know some guys that would have humbled me when he got time to. But that's the reason why my career catapulted at the time that it did. Everything came around when it did, because I wasn't ready. You know what I'm saying? But I would have made enough noise to get in the entry, you know, and get in the beginning. You know what I'm saying? But I would have got humbled. But see, now, you know what I'm saying, like, everything's coming around. I'm going down to 155, and
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah.
Like, what's the whole thing? You want to go 2 different divisions? We see a lot of people changing divisions.
Like I
I
said,
like
my
what you're going
body's
for.
changed. I'm not. I'll step up at 170 and fight, but right now I don't. It's no reason for me to fight at 170. I can make 170 every day of the week. You know what I'm saying? So I'm honestly just gonna try out lightweight, and you know what I'm saying. I feel pretty confident about everything, and then if everything goes good there, then that's where we will be at. And if my body changes again like it did, then I might even freaking go down to featherweight in the future.
Oh,
But
wow.
right now, I feel like lightweight is, you know, I don't know if I can.
So obviously UFC 281 going down. We have 2 huge.
Yay or
more
nay?
than-
Hey, there you go. There you
Hey,
go. Love
there
it.
we go. I sell a lot of that over here.
This is CBD.
Was that a backwoods right there?
This is some CBD pre-roll.
Oh, really?
There you go.
That's what I tell people a
Love
lot
it.
too. You know, CBD. When's the first time you tried something like CBD? I've never tried it. Does it actually work for you?
But yeah, man, I don't have anybody sponsoring me for CBD, so I don't even want to talk about it until I have
Ooh,
somebody.
I can get you.
Yeah, see, that's where the businessman is coming out of Darris.
I can get you a sponsor for that easily.
Oh yeah, if you anybody watching and want to sponsor me, know somebody that wants to sponsor me, go ahead. I'm just like just in my quiet phase right now, just just ready to
Relax.
show the world what's up and get ready to move forward with everything. So anybody that wants to sponsor me or know somebody that's down, get with me.
We got a couple more questions here, man. I got to ask you, 4-fight win streak right now. What are you looking for in 2023? How many times do you want to fight?
At least 3.
At least 3. So, do you have anyone in sight? Is there any talks? Where are we at right now?
Yeah, we got like a verbal agreement with Chris Duncan. I'm not 100% sure, but it's kind of looking good. But like they're all, my manager and Sean Shelby, the matchmakers, are all at UFC 281, obviously. So we'll hopefully find out next week.
All right.
If not, somebody else, but soon.
Looking forward to that. So UFC 281, I wanted to ask you, do you have any predictions for the main event there? Israel Adesanya versus Alex.
Yeah, well, I think Israel's a lot better. Alex is fairly better, not as much as Israel. He hasn't gotten as better as he hasn't gained as much skill as Israel has. Obviously, he's been in the UFC in MMA, and he's faced high-level grapplers, wrestlers, not the highest-level wrestlers. So I know for sure in that aspect of the game, he's better. I don't think he's as strong as him, but he was already a better striker than Alex. Israel was. The first fight I did watch, I thought he won as well.
Right. The second fight was close too.
Second fight was close. He got knocked out, but I feel like he's the better fighter at that time. I feel like he'll be the better fighter now. I feel like he's a smarter fighter, and I think he'll get the job done by TKO or decision. If it is a TKO, it'll be early or late. And if it's a decision, it's a decision. I can't say if it's going to be unanimous, but it'll be a decision or a TKO win.
Also, number one.
It starts fucking grappling and subs. I don't think he will.
Yeah, that's been like the whole thing people are talking about. Is he going to go for a double leg but huge fight on here.
He might not wrestle. I just said he might not grapple, which means he might not pursue a finish.
Well, even in kickboxing, Alex did a lot of clinching as well. He even got like a point taken and scolded for it. So I don't see him wrestling though. you know, he's gonna definitely
Yeah, he's
keep
not
it on
gonna.
the
He's not a
feet.
wrestler.
There's no way.
No way to become a wrestler like that
In 3 fights. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
What
nuts.
about Izzy? Could you see Izzy trying to get him to the ground and kind of
Yeah,
show
that's
him
what I'm saying.
something?
I can absolutely see him pulling out Francis Ngannou against Cirio Gone.
Okay.
I can definitely see him mixing it up a little bit with some wrestling, taking his back off of some clinches, off of some, some slick stuff, taking his back and just using it for time and just being a smart champion. That's the thing. He's not the best at anything, is he? Not maybe striking he's the best at, but he's underestimated for how smart he is. He's the smartest. IQ is probably the best in the division. That's why he's a champion. He's a lot smaller than a lot of those guys that he fights too.
We saw that in the Kelvin Gastelum fight. He was even trying to go for a submission at one point. But outside of the Adesanya fight, I'm sure you're excited to see Dustin Poirier going against Michael Chandler for that #1 contender spot. You got to tell us what your predictions are for that one.
Our predictions: Chandler gets it done by decision or TKO. I like how he's talking in his interviews. Chandler chose money for a while in the later part of his Bellator and beginning part of his his UFC career with the way he was fighting, the style, just chose that fan side and he didn't choose the Bilal Muhammad side. See, what people didn't know about Bilal is he's actually really good at every fucking thing and he can finish guys, but being smart and just wanting the bag and winning the fights is Bilal's main thing. You know what I mean?
I remember watching him in Titan FC coming up. I had him on the show a bunch of times.
Yeah. I remember when he beat Steve Carl and everything and made it to the UFC. I'm actually gonna be training with Steve Carl and Bilal's my teammate, Chicago fight team. Shout out to him. But what I mean with him is he didn't choose that fan, the sides of the fan. He chose to win fights. You know what I mean? And sometimes fighters choose to go out there and get that extra 50,000 and get that extra, you know what I mean, that cloud and not really show their true sides. You know what I mean? And I feel like Chandler's gonna come back to being that D1 All-American smart fighter because he could be a fucking champion, bro. Like, you know what I mean? But back to the division, I feel like the division is overrated from
Really?
fighter standpoint, not from you guys' standpoint, obviously.
Can you explain that a little bit?
I think it's overinflated with top heavy UFC guys that probably shouldn't really have the clout that they really have right now. They shouldn't have this standing in the division right now, right?
I don't think the top guys are as good as not what people think they are, but what other fighters give other fighters outside of the UFC and some fighters in the UFC give the top fighters a lot of credit for how good they are, and they're not really that good. It comes down to small things. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think I could beat Dustin and Chandler. Actually, I know I can.
That's the good mentality that you got right there. The confidence that you have. How long do you think it's going to take to face somebody in the top 15? Are you really trying to push for that? Because I know, like you said, you know, your amateur career was long. Are you going to try to take your time, or are you going to try to really make a run here in 2023?
That's where I'm at, trying to figure that out. I'm just trying to do good right now. So, like before I got to the UFC, I never wanted to be a UFC champion. I just wanted to get to the UFC. Now I want to be UFC champion. So I have to keep accomplishing my goals first. Like I can't really give you a good answer on that, but I want to do good in my first fights first. You know what I mean? And then because I'm young. And if I was old, I could ask you a question. but I'm young, so I want to just do good first. And like I said, man, I got tapped 3 times today by a black belt, but I know what needs to be done. That's the good thing about me. You know what I'm saying? So like, I'm not the best in the world right now, but I will be. You know what I mean? So I have to approach it smart. I do have to approach the fight smart. I can't just go out there and fight Dustin. You know what I'm saying? I have to. That's why I have good managers, Jason House and everybody. So man, within a couple years though, I'll be the best. So we'll just have to scale it with the timing the right way.
So I got one more question for you here. The tattoos that you got going on, man. You're gonna get some money? Are you gonna get some more tats? What's going on with the tattooing?
Yeah, I get tattoos that mean stuff.
What?
So
What's that on your chest? What does that represent? You can kind of see it here in the corner.
you guys grapple?
I used to train growing up, played football. I've been a journalist. Actually, you would love this. I did. So like you do mixed martial arts. Me growing up, since I was a young kid, I was on radio and stuff. My first interview was actually with Stone Cold Steve Austin himself on air. So ever since then, it kind of changed my life. So I've always enjoyed martial arts growing up and really following the journalist career of it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the difference. Like with me, it's like I've been doing this my whole life where, you know,
I haven't trained specifically. I got a nice little scar here from a torn bicep, but like my kids have been in and out of gyms, stuff like that.
Yeah, well, it's guys that tear their bicep in jiu-jitsu. So that's not really an excuse.
Oh man, I want to thank you so much.
It's advantages too in certain shit too, like with having different dexterity now, so just give it a try. But I appreciate you guys for having me.
I got one more. for you, Darris.
I got time today. You know what? I turned down a lot of interviews. For some reason I said yes to you guys. So, because I'm not, like I said, I'm just chilling, bro. Like these really don't benefit me much. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got to put the work in to really get fans and really get sponsors, endorsements, and all that. You know what I mean? So, like,
you got the right team, man. You got Iridium and Jason House already on your team, man. You already got the first step, bro.
Exactly.
And the second step is you already got the mindset and mindset to push yourself to that next level to get to those goals that you want. Like you said, you're taking in one fight, you want to do good with this and see where it goes. But the fact that you already have that mindset that you're going to be a world champion is just another notch until you get to it, brother.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it.
So your name's Beast Mode, but I was thinking about it. Why not Deflowered? Darris Deflowered. I'm gonna deflower these guys.
I'm gonna leave that one alone, Eddie. I'm gonna leave that one alone. Let him answer that one.
All right, I got another one for you, Darris.
I looked at. That's soft. I mean, I would say like my name Flowers is soft, but it's too soft for MMA to be a nickname.
Yeah, like deflower, like I'm gonna destroy.
I just leave Flowers.
That's said you leave for the streets, deflower.
Deflower is my name, like for sports, like football. It was even in wrestling, but for MMA, I feel it just wasn't it. You know what I mean? Like somebody gave me the name Beast Mode, and I stuck with it. I stuck with it because it really fit me.
Now, I looked on YouTube for, I watched all the fights, all your clips, all your interviews. I came across a guy named Darris Flowers who does some gospel music. That's not you, is it?
Yeah, that's me. You want to hear me sing?
I'm not even kidding. I came across it. I got it on the TV over here.
Nah, I sing too. There's a few Darris Flowers out there.
There's actually a football player as well, Darris Flowers.
New Jersey, yeah.
And
he's got as soon as the internet started, I typed up Darris Flowers. I've been looking up to see who has my name.
But where's your Twitter account? I see there's no Twitter account.
Yes, he does. How you didn't find it? I found it.
You found on Tapology. What is it? What is it? UFC? All right, because Tapology had it. I got to get hold of Nolan. I got to get a hold of Nolan King to change that for you because the one that they had on there didn't have the Twitter account going for you.
Nope.
The only one I found was the
Y'all
football.
Y'all slacking.
Yeah. So man,
how long
But,
you guys been doing this?
my whole life. I've been doing this since I was about 7 years old.
You guys on Belly Up too?
No.
Belly Up is Mike and Mike Brown and Blaine Napier. They're guys from out in Ohio. I'm from Philadelphia, and he's from up there in like the
New
Connecticut
Haven,
area.
Connecticut, by New York.
So you
Yeah,
just
I've been
kinda do your
doing this
podcast
for like 8 years.
You kind of do your podcast through that production.
Yeah, through Belly Up.
No, I mean I didn't have to. I chose to link up with
Right,
them
right.
because
I know. Obviously not.
Like
But
I do.
It works out good. You know what I'm saying? Partnership. It's a good idea.
Yeah. Like I have my own podcast, Pure Evil MMA, and I got a bunch of nominations the last couple of years, the top 40. Like if you Google Pure Evil MMA, it's top 40 podcast.
I mean, the
Along with
main
like
reason I
Ariel
linked
and
up with Belly is
Follow
because
me.
I also wanted a well developed media outlet that also covered all kinds of other sports, because I also want to, as much as I love combat sports, I want to cover football. I want to cover baseball. I don't want to just leave myself to cover just MMA, just combat sports, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So Darius, before we let you go here, I gotta ask, man. No kids, no wife, no girlfriend. What's this? 2 kids.
I do have 2 daughters.
You got 2 daughters. They are ready for what's about to go down. Bring them to the UFC event for your first fight,
Yeah.
or no? You're not gonna.
For my first one, I don't know. For my first one, you know, the UFC, man, they pay for 2 flights, and then you got to pay for your own corner, and you know what I mean. So, shit, like I'm waiting for a fight now. This is my job. This is full time. So, you know what I mean. Like, just starting out now. Not the first one. They can watch it.
So where are you gonna be watching the fights tomorrow night? You gonna watch it with the team, or what do you got going on?
Buffalo Wild Wings.
Oh, you like going to places where there's actually a
Well,
bunch of
no,
people?
they wasn't showing it. Me and my girl gonna go to Buffalo Wild Wings though.
Yeah, because they show the pay-per-views all the time. Usually when I go there, it's crazy. People are screaming this and that. You don't get annoyed about any of that?
I haven't been since like Floyd fought that Hispanic guy. Can't think of his name, but it was crazy. But no, I'll be chilling, bro. I'm always chilling.
All right. We totally appreciate you joining us here on Combat Deviants, Darris. We got to get you back on. And man, it's absolutely crazy how life can change in just a second. Are you feeling that? Last question. Are you feeling the change, or what does it really feel like right now? Does it seem unreal? How does
Nah, it
all
seems
this?
it just seems like I was saying before, bro. Like it was supposed to happen. Everything's coming around time that was supposed to happen. Like, you know, with me, bro, growing up and all the stuff that I've been through, you get numb to the wins and the losses, you know. So it's like it's not like I'm not excited, you know what I mean. But I'm feel like I'm supposed to be here, you know what I mean. I feel like I'm in the right. Everything's happening like it should be, you know what I mean.
That's the way it's got to go, man. Because a lot of people do get overwhelmed when something like this happens. I'm sure the 17-year-old is, and we can't wait to see you inside.
He might
that
not be
octagon.
though, bro. He might have he might have that much time on the mat, that much time training. You never really know, bro. You know, just because he's 17. Yeah, some dogs out here that's 17, bro, that's hungry. Like I said, it's about who you got around you, for real.
So
at the highest level.
So right now, where are you at? You said you're training where?
Yeah, I live in Iowa, so I train in Mason City, PHF Karate, Chiron CrossFit, and the local YMCA. But I cross train. My primary gym is actually Chicago Fight Team. I'm from Chicago, but I go there like every other week, especially when I got fight camps. I'm definitely there for every other week for like half the week. But I just started linking up with Rick Glenn in Des Moines, and I'm gonna be doing that a lot often, like a couple times a week, every week.
Yeah, man, we got to get Rick Glenn back on here, Steve. That's a great
Yeah,
old
he's a
friend of
dog.
ours.
Shout out to Rick Glenn, man.
Ricky Gladiator, man.
Yeah, the Gladiator for sure, bro. I'm looking forward to getting more work with him. We just rode today a bunch of rounds, probably like 8 rounds.
With Rick Glenn. Darris, we're going to let you rest for the rest of the night. We really hope to get you back on Combat Deviants in the future, coming up to your upcoming UFC fight. What we usually like to do at this point in the interview is hand the imaginary microphone over to you. If you have any shout outs, sponsors, anything at all, the floor is now all yours.
Yeah. Shout out to everybody, bro, that's helped me get to where I'm at. My coach, Johnny Martin and Roberto Ramirez. I always got to shout those guys out. Anybody that I've trained with or that's helped me train. Shout out to God, Jesus Christ. And I never give myself credit. So shout out to me. You know, God keeping me in the right mindset and giving me a good mindset to stay consistent and disciplined. So shout out to myself. Shout out to the UFC. Shout out to you guys. But other than that, you guys have a good night. Thank you for having me on.
God bless, Darris. We'll talk to you soon.
You enjoy your evening, my friend.
You too.
That was awesome,
everyone.
man.
That was UFC lightweight fighter.
Not middleweight, sure, dog.
Darris Beast Mode Flowers. Awesome self-belief in oneself that this guy has. Really looking forward to when he makes his debut. Obviously, he coming from, like you said, dude, he has so much experience that from his amateur career,
17.
The fact that the work that he's put in that, we're like, dude, he's talking about Steven Carl, Ricky Glenn. Me and you were just sitting there like, is this dude like dropping out pages of like 5 years ago stuff that guys that we used to talk to? I was like, what is going on here?
Remember Rick Glenn sent us shirts at one point. Remember?
I did. It's still in my dresser.
That's so crazy, in my dresser,
dude.
Dude, we interviewed
hit him back up and tell him I'm going to send it back to him to sign it and put it up on the wall or something, dude.
Dude, back in the day, we interviewed Kobe Covington.
Kobe before he became the teenage dirtbag.
Yeah, before he was even in the UFC video game. I remember when you were talking to him about it.
Yeah, we were like, how the hell are you not in this game, dude?
He was so pissed, dude. Yeah, we've done a lot.
Because any UFC fighter, unless you're just signed, it's not in the game. If you're on the roster, you should be in the game.
All 500 of them.
About that.
Yeah, man.
And we're still having fighters that sit there like, oh, I'm finally in the game. Meanwhile, they've had 5 fights in the UFC. How is that even a freaking thing?
Bro, I still got this game right here, dude. Fucking UFC Undisputed.
Oh, the one with Forrest on the cover, the first one. Oh, man.
Bro, you know who's on this? I think Houston Alexander's in here. Kimbo. James McSweeney's in here. I even think who were we just talking about a couple minutes ago that we have a tweet of? LeVar Johnson. Steve, what is this right here?
This is LeVar Johnson. Apparently, Dustin his call out came off, and he's calling out the world's most dangerous man, Ken Shamrock, for when they were finally going to dance. This is a video of his last, I think, Valor bare knuckle fight.
Oh, against my old co-host? Is that what this video is?
I think so.
Against James? Whew.
I think it's I think that's of LeVar's last fight.
Out of jail. LeVar, right out of jail, comes in, fights my old co-host, knocked him out, and James, he said it was one of the hardest hits he's ever gotten. James has never been knocked out before, I don't think, on that. We got a couple other.
You got to bring that one back up. Pull that one back up, man.
All right, here, Steve. What does this one say right here?
We got basically we talk about GOATs and we talk about legacies and we talk about everything like this, dude. Like has Volk doesn't get no love we're talking about guys not not giving the like how do people not talk about Alexander Volkanov more? The guy is putting his 22 fight win streak on. He's what 12-0 in the UFC now, and he's going for that infamous double
champ, bro.
You
Didn't
know,
he come
and
from
he's
Bellator?
really
Wasn't he the Bellator champ
and
too?
that's insanity because you see a lot of guys as Darris was alluding to guys just going in there for paychecks, like a guy's not going in there to test themselves to see if they are the best in the world. Well, Volk's throwing all that to the wind, and he's saying, you know what? I'm putting my win streak on the line. I'm gonna go up a weight class. I'm gonna challenge for the title off a guy that I don't really think a whole lot of people want to fight.
Absolutely insane. It's so weird to be on a 12-fight winning streak. Like, back in the day when we had Habib on the win streak, Tony Ferguson on the win streak, Max Holloway on a win streak. Everyone was talking about it. No one here is talking about.
And y'all all jinxed every single one of them.
Yeah,
every single one of y'all jinxed them. Max Holloway's not even the same shadow of the man that he was before.
So hard to see.
Freaking Tony Ferguson. Yeah, let's talk about Tony Ferguson. What since that he's been 0-5 since then.
So sad.
So I mean, it's rough, man. It's rough.
What about Jose Aldo, Steve? What do we got here? The fact people don't like Jose Aldo.
Another one of these dumb tweets shot out again to MMA dumb tweets again for the stuff and all the stuff that our fellow tweeps put out there, but basically just insinuating that Aldo just had a run at the wrong time and that he basically wouldn't be able to do anything in the featherweight division right now. You really feel that way, man? You feel the same way that this fan does? I know you're the Aldo guy of the group here, so the state.
Let me read it
for him because I feel like you could tell the story of the UFC without telling a bit about Jose Aldo. We've seen that from my level where he was on my Brazilian GOAT list or Mount Rushmore, however you wanted to put that. So I could really care less. Eddie, to throw it in there, say, defend your boy, man. Because
so let me read this for the audio. For the audio listeners, we got a tweet here that Steve sent me. It says, "A fact people don't like Jose Aldo had a good run at a bad time in the UFC. If he fought now in the featherweight division, he would have got nowhere." I totally disagree with this, man. Even though Jose Aldo is my age, 34, you think about all the wars he went in. Go back to the WEC era. People are forgetting about the runs that he went in back then. Look at the Cub Swanson fight with the flying knee. And I think for 7 seconds, I think it lasted. Jose Aldo was a man of a different breed back then. And this is a kid that came from a poor family. The only reason he started training, Steve, was because he was just mopping up a gym. He was paying for the gym by just cleaning it up. And then he falls into this. He was on top of the fucking world, Steve, until Conor McGregor's 13-second knockout.
That goes into the next one I sent you.
What's this next one here? Is this the biggest fluke in MMA history? There's no such thing as a fluke. I totally disagree. There's no such thing as a fluke. The way that happened, dude, I still can't believe it. The whole lead up to it, the fight
doesn't
getting called
notice
off,
that Conor gets absolutely cracked going in for that.
Yeah, the same
everyone
time.
Forgets about. All right, it's a fluke. He took one right on the chin just so he could crack him.
He was practicing that same move backstage too. There's videos of it. It's absolutely insane.
He knew he had to take a shot to give a shot, but he had the supreme confidence in his speed and skill that he would land his cleaner, harder, and flusher.
It's precision timing.
His gamble paid off, and that's what it is. So half the time, what it is these fighters are taking an absolute gamble that can put them in a really, really, really bad position.
Well, with this fight,
sometimes it works out spectacularly for them, and sometimes it works out really, really bad.
Conor got so into Jose Aldo's head. Remember leading up to it, and then Conor McGregor versus Chad Mendes before the Aldo fight. That whole thing one of my favorite Conor
I
McGregor
think that's kind of
comebacks.
what made Conor what he is today is the build up to that run.
I agree, dude. I agree.
Like I don't think Conor McGregor would be as well renowned as he is now, as if he didn't have the run that he did and how everything played out for him. Do I think he's a bit overrated by the vast majority of the public? Absolutely.
No, don't say that, man. Look,
he's not. Tell me how he's not.
He's overrated.
He's on the same level as Ronda Rousey. Tell me I'm wrong.
You're so wrong with that. You're so wrong with that. Conor McGregor decided to start taking chances.
It is the same thing.
The only
they
reason
both got hyped up by the big train, and as soon as they found somebody and were immediately on their level, what happened? They folded.
Well, Conor went outside of his level.
The worst part is Dustin Poirier wasn't on his level at that point in time. And what happened? Dustin not only passed him, he caught to his level, he surpassed him where Conor can't even fight him.
Conor didn't care about the rematch, though. He's at the point in his career, it doesn't seem like the same Conor. You can't take away Conor McGregor's come up there, running through the UFC with Marcus
different animal. It was because of his mindset.
Yeah. You nailed it with that one.
I still think Nate Diaz stole that from him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, bro.
And that was the beginning.
Poor RDA.
You can't. He's not that same dude.
He was originally supposed to fight RDA. RDA pulls out with a toe injury, and then Nate steps in. But also, Conor took chance by going up a weight class, which I totally loved. And then he fucks up by going to boxing.
Listen, I wouldn't have done the UFC no favors. RDA was an easy fight for him. I mean, in his mind. I mean, Rafael Adesanya is not an easy fight for anyone at 155 pounds.
That's Cowboy, right? That's Cowboy.
Yeah, man. Like, look at Adesanya says he's another one of these guys that's just underrated, like really high level grappling, wrestling, but just for the longest time could not get that signature win. And like that's one of the things that Darris was talking about, like people clout chasing in MMA. That's what he's talking about is trying clout chasing, but it's for something for your career. It's you need a highlight reel win, a signature win. Like, and that's some of the things that we talk about. And I think that's what built up Ronda and Conor so eloquently is because they had so many signature wins in a matter of a year.
Yeah, that's true.
Like I mean, dude, Ronda Rousey's her highlight reels granted it's the better part of a 45 seconds long, but it's 45 seconds long of 15 fights.
And it's crazy too, man. There's no one out there that made me as excited for a fight when Ronda would come out. I don't give a damn.
But that's what I'm saying. Like
there was something special there.
The problem that the UFC also created is they didn't build other stars as they were. Like
he tried with Sage.
You want to make this star go as high up as you can, get the most juice out of that thing before it falls back down.
Like Sage Northcutt.
But the problem is you're supposed to build up these other ones so when the star falls, you have something to catch.
Everyone got so mad about it because the UFC was doing that, Steve. They're forgetting about everyone else. They felt really betrayed. Now we got Dustin the Diamond with his hot sauce being the official hot sauce. They're giving them more love, I would say. They're not really building up stars that are nobodies. Like Sage Northcutt did great job in his first couple fights. Paige Van Zandt. I really think Paige Van Zandt was a great fighter, bro. The kick the can kick where she beat Beck Rawlings, man. The Felice Herring
here's
fight.
The other thing, like I think her and Felice Herring were Felice Herring was like 3 levels above her, and I thought the big thing was when Paige had finally got there, I think she had to fight with Felice in New Jersey, and she won that unanimous decision. They felt like they were gonna fast track Paige at that point in time. It was like, all right, they built like they all kind of felt like Felice was going to be the girl that they put into that spot. But it just, for whatever happened, like Felice Herring has had the worst, like probably one of the more well-rounded strikers. Probably, I think she's only like a blue belt in jiu-jitsu. But like, I just kind of felt like she had that thing that everyone kind of felt like she was gonna make it. She was one of those OG girls from the original reality show and everything like that. And then it never. Every time she'd get those big fights, bad decision loss, bad decision. Like she would just have bad performances at the worst possible times. And that's what eventually led her to, not being in the UFC now.
What about
Paige
Joanna?
that thing, and I think, ironically, she immediately teeters out of it.
Yeah. Yep. It's so weird looking back at some of these potential stars and then what happens to them. But then you look,
saying you should never kind of do it the way that they do it, because this is what you end up with. Like you're not the WWE. You can't do it.
You can't write it. Yeah, you can't write.
You can't do it that way. You have to build them all up as they are all improving together and deserve it. That's when you don't just sit there. Okay, we're gonna push this. Oh, wait, no, you're not ready. Oh, wait, no, you're not. No, you can't fucking do that, dude. That's not how fucking promoting works.
This is why I think
promotion to run, and you have to put fun fight. You have to build them. That's not just their job; it's your job too.
This is why I think Khabib retired at a good time, man. And it really sealed his legacy.
Khabib retired because he could. It was just a matter of time before someone flunked him out.
That's what I'm saying.
His body, dude. People, how many times did he blow out his knee, dude? How many times?
He had that 2-year layoff. Yeah.
Come on, dude. Like, you don't understand how hard that is. And then when you start to get older, being able to that was one of the things I think is what makes Audrey is so amazing is that when you do it at that age, it's really hard for your body to recover. And then once you've already accumulated a couple of these injuries, and it's not the same. I don't care what you are. I don't care what doctor you are. I don't care, where Daddy Dana sent you for your knee surgery for whatever, dude. Yeah. It doesn't matter. Like, you're never going to be better than you were before. I don't care. I don't. Especially when you get to a certain age. And Khabib had multiple injuries on the lower half of his body. And what was his thing? Oh,
nobody ever called him a one-trick pony like they called Ronda, though.
But that's because he had a gas tank that wasn't quit. He could take a punch. Like, there was,
and he would trade.
And I'm not sitting there saying like Ronda wasn't like Ronda's thing is that her grappling was so far of ahead than anyone else. But
then she started thinking
is that she probably shouldn't have been fighting at 135 pounds. She probably should have been a natural flyweight, right? And then you couple that with the girls that she was fighting when she wanted to lose the title. Okay, Holly Holm.
Liz Carmouche.
Is Holly Holm a natural bantamweight? No. He was fighting that bantamweight. That's because of the division the UFC had.
Let's go.
To go to Amanda Nunes. Is she a natural bantamweight? Oh, no.
No,
she's definitely not. Okay.
No way.
So, that being said, those are the two women who absolutely obliterated Ronda and ran her out of the sport, right? Bigger girls really who have what?
Because everyone wanted the cyborg fight, remember?
Grappling and or striking, right?
You make a really good point.
Amanda has both. Amanda is the rare one who has both, right?
Yeah,
but
great point.
When you look at what Holly was, she's bigger, longer. So when Ronda's tried to do her judo, it didn't really translate real well to be able to get. I mean, not to sit there say it's impossible, and she hadn't done it to taller girls. It's just that Holly's style made it impossible, and Ronda
was ranked number 9 at the time.
Shooting at air, man.
Yeah, Holly was ranked number 9. Ronda just came off that amazing win.
Holly deserved that fight long ago. But I think what had happened was Ronda was getting burnt out at that point in time. And I think that she just got to the point where she'd sold into the persona to the point where it's just like, if I win, I lose, whatever, I'm done.
And then Hollywood, yeah. I still want her to come back. It wasn't just
Hollywood and things of that nature. Like, she wanted to be the ability to kind of control
Travis. Travis fucked it all up. I'm telling you right now. Travis's fault. Travis Brown. He's not in the UFC anymore, is he?
No, he's been gone.
He's been gone for a minute, right? Michelle Watterson. She's still in the UFC, apparently.
Michelle Watterson?
I haven't seen her fight in so long, bro.
Nah, I just see her TikTok. She's funny as hell, yo.
Yeah, you interviewed her. I remember I was on a run, and I ran home to call into your show just to talk to her, bro. Yeah. Back in the day.
Well, that's because that's when I went to Invicta, when I had that whole crazy thing with the plane and everything like that.
What do you mean?
I ran in her at the weigh-ins in Invicta. That's how I had her number. I got.
All right. Yeah, man. That's another one that should have had the atomweight division. But Joanna Jędrzejczyk officially out of the division now as a retired. She wanted to come back. I think this was the smartest decision for
I
her.
did see something about that. How she feels like she should do one more. That it was rushed. That not just for her but for us. We couldn't say our goodbyes. Like we're just talking about how we're getting to say our goodbyes to Frankie Edgar tomorrow night. We didn't really get to say it to Joanna. A lot of times, a lot of these fighters like she's one of the ones that really just did it on a whim and is sticking with it. Like a lot of times, like fighters like this is the last one I'm playing in this one. Like when Luke Rockhold was done, we already knew he was done when his contract was up.
Yeah,
he I don't think we're going to see Luke Rockhold fighting for any other MMA promotion anytime soon.
No way. Even it's so sad, man, when you
this is what I'm
don't get the proper goodbye as a legend.
A sport that is gnarly and nasty, and we don't all it's not always this bright shiny thing that the promoters make it out to be. There's dark parts of it. There's evil parts of it. We've discussed about things of that nature over the past month. Anyone who's been paying attention to anything that we're doing here at the program, and Trisha Morrison got even more evidence in the mail over the last week. She's tagging us as we're on air here tonight. So
well, I'm working on actually releasing like a documentary of our interview, but I uploaded
we got a lot of stuff. I'm looking forward to seeing what you edited with that. But dude, we're already at the 2-hour mark.
Yeah, that's about it.
On this one for tonight, my friend.
That was a great fucking episode, Steve. Tomorrow I will be live tweeting for UFC 281, guys. I cannot wait for
checking
tomorrow.
Eddie out, folks. Make sure you're checking Eddie out.
At
UFC 281 too good to miss.
Evil Eddie X. Follow me there and follow Combat Deviants at Combat Deviants on all social media platforms. We'll be getting more highlights up, and we're going to be starting to air our highlights at the end of every month, the best parts of every interview, so you guys can look forward to that. And you got to go over to Combat Deviants on YouTube, not just subscribe, but hit that notification bell, because apparently YouTube subscription button means nothing anymore to them. You have to literally click that notification bell. With that being said, Steve, great episode tonight, and we'll talk to you guys this weekend, because we might have some announcements coming up here.
Some fun stuff coming on. We got some fun stuff in the works. I'm always working on some stuff that I've kind of inadvertently mentioned it in a way in the Darris interview. We're working on some more things outside of just combat sports here with Combat Deviants, with Belly Up Sports. So guys, make sure you like, subscribe, everything that's Belly Up Sports and everything that's Combat Deviants, regardless if you're Facebook, YouTube, IG, whatever your poison is, for your social media consumption. Make sure you guys are showing us some love. I got some fun stuff that we're working on, both giveaway wise, content wise. We're gonna do some fun stuff. Hopefully, we can add on to some other things that I'm doing with some of the other stuff that we're doing, and make it all work without it. But other than that, this is another fun episode of the Combat Deviants. I'm Steve.
I'm Evil Eddie. White knuckles till the end.
See you guys next week, folks. Peace out.
Behave yourselves.